What's up?
Hey.
What's going on?
Man, just enjoying the day. The day was really long at work, but I feel like I'm enjoying it now.
I had an alright day. I worked on the house a bit, just chilled out. Uh, got our Discord live.
See that?
So yes, anybody that is interested in that, the link is in the description. To join our little Discord group and have some fun with us. But other than that, not a very eventful day. I took a nap, so that was nice. What's up,
I
Johnny? Puppet also, but it was like a first for the NFL side of things. It was a weird and kind of crazy week with 6 teams on a bye, so we only had like 13 games. It was a short week, but an interesting week nonetheless.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, this is my worst week in a while as far as picks go, and I felt like I should have done a lot better.
We did the same. We both went 8-5. I should have went 9-4, but I didn't trust my gut on the paper, and that's not your fault. That's on me. I'm not gonna blame you this time. But
It's
so I'm at a very mid 74-62 for the year, and you're at a fairly respectable 81-55 for the
Hey,
season.
I'm gonna tell you what, those numbers are respectable. If you go look at some of the NFL analysts that pick every week as well, that make money, like real money doing this, we're doing pretty dang good.
I mean, a lot of mine are stupidity. I know I could be doing better, but I felt very confident going into this week, and only a few things really let me down. One was myself for not uh, believing. But let's jump into it. Week 9 officially over. We're over halfway done with the season. The season's flying by, and it's making me really sad realizing how quickly this season's going by. What's up, Puppet? What's up, Shy? But the first game on our slate, which was a really fun game, and the people looking at it from the outside, looking at the final score if they didn't watch it, probably don't think it was that fun of a game, but I had a blast watching this game. The Eagles at the Texans. The Eagles do get the dub. The Texans look really cool even though they lost. But it was a great game. The Texans were in it the first half. They are not a four-quarter team right now, and they were without Brandon Cooks, Nico Collins, and John Mechie, the rookie they drafted. They were out everybody, and that was kind of why I thought maybe this will be a good game because it won't make sense. But when you bring these practice squad guys up, they want a shot in the NFL. They're going to play to the best of their ability. And also, the highlight of this game, yes, the Eagles continue to win, but the highlight to me was rookie running back Dameon Pierce is just blossoming in front of our faces.
You know, once you said that, the one thing that it makes me think about more than anything is look how tight NFL Rookie of the Year offensively is going to be this year. There is a lot of candidates right now that are playing admirable football for that honor.
Listen, I think we really need to sit down and put a video out, a kind of mid-season award video very soon because there's a lot of stuff in that category that I want to dive deep into between the MVP race but through the first half, the Rookie of the Year offense and defense because there's a lot of guys that we probably didn't even expect to see on this list. And then obviously offensive and defensive player of the year, coach of the year, stuff like that. I don't want to get too far into it, but you make a really good point because, this is one guy that you don't see his name on there, and he's probably not gonna win it because of the team he's on, even though he is that team right now. Like,
Yeah, fair. I mean, that's a very fair assessment. I mean, if you was just to ask me to assess this game, I'm going to say Houston. I got one word for Houston in this game. I'm going to say gutsy. It's a very gutsy performance. And I'm going to say Philadelphia, if I have to describe it with one word today, I'm going to say consistent because they play consistently good football.
Listen, I think, and that's another guy talking about the MVP conversation, Jalen Hurts with the Eagles. I think they are one of the most well put together on all three phases teams, and that is why they're so successful. A lot of people are like, their schedule's so easy, blah blah blah. It is not easy to have a perfect season. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you play the best teams every single week or the worst teams. Either way, these are professional football teams, and it is not easy. So you have to be good on all three phases to continue to win. They're a very complete and balanced team. And then you flip over to Houston. They played against the worst team in the league. And if they played like they played in that game, there's no way their record would look like it is right now. But I think this is a newer head coach in this system, a fairly inexperienced QB still. You've got most of your main guys were rookies, no wide receivers. They were slinging pieces together, making it work. I think they really saw something in this game that they can build on for the future because they're going to lose Brandon Cooks. Like, that is a given. It doesn't matter how he goes. He will be gone. So they're thinking about their future right now. And I think if they just use the film from that game, they've got plenty to build on going forward.
Yeah, fair enough. Davis Mills, and everybody's got to remember about him, is that he came out in the draft a year early as well. So he's a year younger than some of the other quarterbacks. He should have been in this last year's class.
Yeah, he's a lot less experienced.
And he struggles a little bit, but you know what? He doesn't have a lot to work with as well. So he's making the best of his opportunity. I believe he'll be a quarterback for a while.
I mean, hats off to him. Like, they could obviously just go to the draft this year and get another guy. Like, they could do that, but I do not think that they will. And one thing I want to point out is the big running joke with Davis Mills, how freaking long his neck is. Like, okay, I was in that party making fun of him, but then I saw a shot of Matt Ryan like a week or two ago, and that man looks way goofier in the long neck category than Davis Mills does. So I'm going to stop hating on Davis Mills just a little bit. But all in all, great game. I can't complain about this Thursday night game. I complain about most primetime games, and we will get to one of those in a little bit, but I will not complain about this one. Next game on our slate, first 1 o'clock game, we have the Chargers at the Falcons, one of many games this week to end in the final score of 20-17. There was 5 or 6 games with that score. I don't really I think the fact that the Atlanta Falcons offense makes no sense. Like, everything is so spread thin. There is not one guy on that offense. Mariota didn't do bad. They've got 15 running backs and they've got 15 guys catching passes. I think they just need to find some more consistency. They play very well at home. The Chargers almost chargered that game, and they ended up getting the win, which is good. They've got the injury bug this season. I just want to hear your thoughts about this game because my thoughts are just question marks, really.
I really thought Atlanta would win this game. I picked Atlanta at home. I felt like they were going to rebound and play well. Cordell Patterson had a pretty good game. He was Cordell Patterson and put up decent numbers. The Chargers, the only thing I've got to really say about the Chargers is that I think that they can't get out of their own way most of the time, but yet they still keep finding ways to win games. And that is important later on. If when you're not playing well, you find ways to win. And I think that's important, and that might bode well for them later on down the road.
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to read this comment to you because I actually saw this statistic today. He said Papa Blood should be concerned for the next Bengals game because every single team who's beat the Falcons have lost the following game. Every single team that has played the Falcons lost the following week.
Well, they won the following week, right? Or did they?
They just played them. Or the Panthers. Sorry, not the Falcons. Every team that's played the Panthers have lost the following week.
Well, that's good because the Bengals are on bye.
Yeah, well, I said the next game.
Oh,
So
okay.
just keep that one in the back of your head because you got a divisional game after your bye.
I know.
But yeah, this it's just two teams with no identity right now. Austin Eckler had a good game. Four different people running the ball had a good game in Atlanta. It's just a weird game. This was a weird game. I really thought Atlanta would pull ahead and win this one. They didn't. But good for the Chargers because this was kind of a must-win game for them, despite the injuries. Next game we got on the schedule was one of my favorite games of the week. The Miami Dolphins at the Chicago Bears in an absolute shootout. This was the Justin Fields game. Did you see his stats for this game?
I did. And when I looked in on my fantasy sheet, I really should have benched Josh Allen and played Justin Fields. I mean, that's how.
I mean, he had 100
And she's froze. You're froze. Yeah, Justin Fields had a great game. There you are.
There we are. I just saw that my whole screen went black.
You froze for a minute.
But look, I'm not gonna knock the Bengals, or I'm not gonna knock the Dolphins, because this 35 points, this standard. That's what they're held to. But the Bears, man, they got something going right now. Listen, I don't want to be that guy, but the Bears did get screwed at the end of this game with the PI on Chase Claypool. They straight up sandwiched him before the ball got there. And, that would have put them in the red zone. This was a 3-point game. You have to believe that changed the outcome of the game in some manner. But with all that being said, I've decided, I told you this earlier, I'm ignoring the officiating in every game. Even if that means my team gets screwed over out of a win, I at any point in the season, I just have to get over it because they're never going to change unless someone does something about it. So we can complain, but we're not going to get anywhere from just me and you bickering about it.
Yeah, complaining about the refs is just useless because it doesn't matter what you do. It's still a human being out there trying to make judgment calls in a very high-speed game. I think they do a pretty dang good job. I know they make mistakes. Everybody's got to cut them a little bit of slack for that, and that, maybe upstairs needs to play a bigger part in fixing some of these calls, just as long as it doesn't slow the game down. But you know what? It is what it is. Chicago still played well.
Yes, this was not a loss for Chicago.
They're not supposed to win at all this year. They're supposed to be getting ready with all their draft capital for next year, and then they just keep getting better.
This was such a fun game. Like, I wish this was a primetime game. That is what a primetime game should look like.
Absolutely.
It was fantastic. GG's to the Bears and GG's to Justin Fields and GG's to the Miami Dolphins for still ending up on top. I can't say anything better about this game. This was the game of the week, by far, by a mile.
For sure. And the best part about the game, one last statement, is that Miami played great through 3 quarters. But in the 4th quarter, Chicago owned that quarter, even though they didn't get the win. They held them scoreless in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, without Roquan and without Robert Quinn, they're still finding a way to keep themselves in games. And, when the highlight of this team used to be their defense, now it's turning into their offense. They're keeping themselves in it. So, whatever they're doing in the next year or two, it's really going to pay off.
Oh, for sure.
Next game, I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to you. Obviously, I have plenty of commentating to do on this game. But the Panthers at the Bengals. The Bengals get a massive win. Joe Mixon probably had a drug test on Monday.
The first time this year, I watched the offensive line run block instead of pass block. They've been so worried about protecting Joe Burrow in pass plays that they never seem to run block worth a crap. And they run blocked in this game. And then I seen a light go off on Joe Mixon's face because then all of a sudden it seems like he's playing harder when he knows that there's a gap there. And I think that's the key to their success this year. I saw in the field, Chris said that it is difficult to be a Bengals fan. Buddy, I've been a Bengals fan since I was a little kid, and there's been a lot of years that were really lean for wins. And this team,
Listen, I can honestly say, growing up with you as a parent, it is 100% harder to be a Reds fan than it is a Bengals fan.
for
Because
sure.
being a Bengals fan, you see they might win 2 games. Okay, that's 16 days of your life that are bad. But being a Reds fan, that's 160 days of your life being bad. So, but I feel like even when the Bengals were at their worst, they still made it fun.
Oh, for sure.
They were losing, but you didn't care they were losing, but they were still having fun. And like, I remember being a kid. I don't ever remember them, playing in the playoffs or anything crazy, but I remember how much fun it was still to watch them.
Oh, yeah. Well, the NFL is probably the greatest show on earth, honestly, to watch every single week. And something surprises me every Sunday. The best part about this game was that the defense that was depleted pitched a shutout in the first half. Baker Mayfield comes in, and I don't want anybody to start saying Baker's the best because they were in severe prevent defense in the third quarter. They were just trying to keep the ball in front of them and let the clock go down. Joe Mixon had a game. Hopefully he can carry that over through the bye week, and hopefully their defense plays well at Pittsburgh.
All right, so my thoughts on this was, and look, I'm a Baker hater. All right, so I'm not going to say tell you the best. He's not that good. He's a very mid or below average QB. But in his career, if you look back at any point in times that he had the greatest games of his career, most of them were against Cincinnati, and I felt like from a football fan with, not any feelings attached, if I was whoever made the decision for the Panthers, I would have started him in this game. Because even in their worst seasons, his best games come against the Bengals. And look, I know that sucks because it sucks. You're like, okay, he's gone, and we don't have to worry about him anymore. But it's true. He put up 21 points in a half, and I get it, prevent defense. But I think in 2 halves of this, the third stringers wouldn't have been in if he started this game. Like, I still think it would have been closer. I don't know that Mixon would have had 5 touchdowns because I think the Panthers offense would have had a little bit more life. Now, PJ Walker for the rest of the season, yes, but this one game was your game to start Baker Mayfield. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and for sure,
he was immediately effective in the second half.
I always look for matchups like that, guys that are motivated to play. And those guys always seem to step up in those games against their former team or against a former rival, somebody that got them once really good. I mean, guys seem to play better in those games. I think Carolina's just trying to find out what they have in PJ Walker. I would not be surprised to see Baker start Thursday this week. I think they play.
Or Darnold, he's back officially.
Yeah, I honestly think we'll see Baker before we see Darnold start.
And right here to answer your question, I have to say Thursday or Monday because it's the 2 of the game. Like, we have Sunday football all day. Obviously, I love Sunday night football, but if I had to pick, I would say Monday or Thursday because it's another day of the week we get football.
It's a better night game. I like Thursdays. I think Thursdays is a
if the Thursday slates were better, I would like them more. But if it comes down to which one between Monday and Thursday, I think I will have to take Monday.
Yeah, I gotta say, the thing about Thursdays that's cool is that your team's got a short week to prepare. You don't have as many days to rest your players. You have to go right back into the drawing board. You have to get ready because if you are not ready to rock on Thursday, somebody's going to punch you in the mouth. That's what primetime football is all about, is who comes out and kicks you in the teeth first. So Thursday's a short week. You got to prepare well for it. Sunday night's okay. I'm telling you what, by 4 o'clock on Sunday, usually I'm pretty well spent. my energy level's going down on Sunday night. And Monday Night Football is a great start to the week. After you work on a Monday, you come home and it was, and most people it's their first day of the week, and you're like, oh, but I got Monday Night Football, and then you go to work Tuesday feeling the same way because you stayed up late.
I don't know. I think it just depends on who's playing on Sunday night if I'm spent by the time I get there. Like, this week, the Chiefs played on Sunday night, so I wasn't stressed out all day. Now, was I a little tired? Yeah, but that was because of work. That wasn't because of football. But, like, if you put, look, next week we got the Panthers and the Falcons. I might not be as excited. The Chiefs will have already played that day, win or lose. And, I'm just sitting there through a game that I don't really care about, but I'm going to care about because it's football. So I think it really depends on who's playing, honestly.
Into that.
Next game on our slate, Green Bay Packers head to Detroit and take a big fat L from the Lions. And it was an ugly game. It was like 9-15. It was some like extreme baseball score. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say either of these teams look bad, and I'm not going to sit here and say either of these teams look good either. I think Detroit had a good game plan into stopping the Packers, but I feel like the Packers moved the ball really well. It was just turnovers in the red zone. One of them was a doink off of a helmet. It went straight up. Look, that's some Madden type stuff. The other one, they were throwing to their offensive lineman. He threw it short and it got intercepted. And I don't even know what the third one is. But outside of that, they didn't look that bad. They held the Lions to 15 points. I don't know about their special teams, but like, I think Rodgers' 3 interceptions were the bad point of this game. Now, another thing about the Packers is they lost a big guy on their defense for the rest of the season. Aaron Jones was in a walking boot by the end of the game, and it's not like he was running the ball 30 times like he's supposed to. He just got hurt. And, the line on the Lions on the other side, without TJ Hawkinson, they looked about the same, These two teams looked the exact same in this game.
Yeah, I just don't see any life in Green Bay, really. I mean, I think, it's just they just seem very lethargic. Nobody seems to be really into the game, and so be it. They're writing off their season, whatever the case may be. Detroit gutted out a win, and that's important in the NFL to gut out a W. Detroit's still on an upward tick, I think. I think next year they're going to be much better. I think they're just working towards that. And it was an ugly game between bad teams.
Yeah, 100%. Look, these two teams looked exactly the same in my opinion. I didn't look at the box score, but I know Rodgers had a couple hundred yards. I don't think any touchdowns and an interception. The first drive of the game, the Lions went, or not first drive, but the first score of the game, Lions went down, scored 6, and went for 2. And I think that was the highlight of the entire game. They scored 8 points first, and then the rest of it was all I kept was getting injury notifications.
Yeah, it is what it is. And Green Bay, the question that I really got now is, at what point are we going to see Jordan Love? I mean, is that going to happen? Are they going to set Rodgers down and let Jordan Love play? Do you think that is going to happen this season?
No, they're paying Rodgers $50 million a year. They're not going to sit him down. They're going to wait until they need to. They need to do that. But they're not going to, because look, it's the same thing that Taylor Heineke said about Carson Wentz. If Carson Wentz hadn't got hurt, he'd still be playing right now, even if they were losing. Taylor Heineke stood on that podium and he said, I don't make anything. This guy makes $20 million a year or something. That's the way it goes. If you're paying him, you're not going to see me unless something happens. And
Just with the
Look, I don't
situation,
care if he throws 100 more interceptions. The rest of the season, he will be the starter unless he gets hurt.
I just think seeing is that at this point in time, the season's almost at a point where you can write it off, and you never really got to see what you drafted in Jordan Love.
I mean, they have seen Jordan Love, but I don't know. We won't see. We're not going to see him unless it's like second half of the game and they're getting blown out by 40. I've seen that this year. Yeah, I mean, if he's going, he is dealing with a thumb injury that has been spoke about. If that gets too bad, that's when you'll see Jordan Love.
Is that the hand that he pinches the joint with?
Listen, I don't get into that kind of stuff. I don't care, man. He could be like out of his mind every single game, and he still looks like an NFL quarterback. Carson Wentz gets paid to do that every single game. So, I don't care what he's on at this point.
I just don't think
you might be right.
Thumb
or dumb. But anyway, moving on to the next game. The one game I got right that I was confident in and did not get screwed over by Bill Belichick this year for twice. The Colts at the Panthers, smackdown on a young QB, like I told you. 24-3.
Yeah, that was a pretty good pick there. Honestly, the New England is always going to surprise you and play well.
I told you. No, it's not about playing well. I told you. Look up the statistics of Bill Belichick versus young QBs. He's undefeated. He might have lost one in his entire career. This is the one thing that I know that I'm for certain of. And then he will beat the Jets. I don't know if he's going to beat the Jets twice this year, but, whatever. But my thing is, the highlight of this game, they fired Frank Reich. And this weekend, while the Raiders were playing football, Jeff Saturday gets on Twitter and goes, wow, the Raiders suck. And then they're like, hey, you're going to be our head coach for the rest of the year. And he's like, your next game's against the Raiders. So, Jeff Saturday filling in as interim head coach. He has never coached above the high school level. And the play caller that they hired has never called a single play in his life. And the QB that they have has never won an NFL game. And they're going to play against a struggling Raiders team. I don't know what that game will look like. I'm not going to have faith in you to beat the Jets again because I think the Jets are playing better football than the Patriots are right now. But this was a game that it was an inevitable that they would win. It didn't matter if you had Bill Belichick playing QB himself in this game, they were going to beat them by double digits. I almost put in a plus 20 point spread on this game because I was that confident. I just forgot to put in all my sports bets on Sunday.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Honestly, though, Jeff Saturday, I think the reason why they chose him to be the interim coach is because they want somebody to hold on to the locker room. They want a guy to motivate the team. I don't think they hired him for his outstanding coaching ability. They hired him to be the interim
They hired him because
coach,
he's a very well-known, respectable Colt.
to not lose the locker room because they've got to keep what veterans that they're going to hold on to together. So
if the Pats
win again. Chris, I expect you to head straight to the Discord. That's what it's there for.
Absolutely. We got the Discord so you can share some memes and talk some crap. And
I'll probably pick the Patriots against the Jets, Chris.
I'll probably pick the Jets against the Patriots. They just beat Buffalo. Also, anybody in the chat that is not already and wants to join our Discord, I just dropped the link again. It is also in the description of the video. Please join. It'll be fun. But I'm going to take the Jets every game until they embarrass themselves from here on out. I don't care who they're playing. I like your dad, Alex. There we go. I mean, he doesn't like the Patriots. He just says he's probably going to take the Patriots against the Jets, which makes sense. Bill Belichick 14 in a row against the Jets.
I like Bill Belichick. I like the Patriots a lot better without Tom Brady.
Yeah, me too. I can't hate them nearly as much as I did, so it's fine. Next game on the slate, best game, the actual best game of the week. The Bills come to New Jersey, and listen, the score was a 3-point game, but they got their butt kicked. The run game ran all over this Buffalo defense, which was one of the highlights. Josh Allen looked bad. 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Sauce Gardner had a day. The one bad about this, and look, as a Chiefs fan, if I was not a right person, I would be happy about this. But I am not, because I do not like to see this kind of thing. But Josh Allen did injure his elbow, which would, if requiring surgery, would be like a Tommy John surgery. And then I did some research about it. This is not the first time Josh Allen has had this injury. He had it in 2018 as well. So I don't know if it's an aggravated of the same thing, if it's the same arm or what it is. I'm sure it's the same arm. But either way, James Robinson had a game. Zach Wilson, no turnovers against this insane Bills defense. They're getting healthier, so they have no excuses. They are getting healthier every single week. They are one of the best, if not the best defense. And Zach Wilson played a great, very conservative football game. Didn't turn the ball over, which was his issue. The only reason they lost against the Patriots last week was because of the turnovers. And, we saw flaws in Buffalo's team. Also, the highlight of this game was Josh Allen throwing a wide open interception to Sauce Gardner, running off the field, slamming his helmet, and shoulder checking his own teammate.
For sure. Josh Allen did not show the maturity that he should be showing at this point in time. But I'm going to go back and say, hey, this is a divisional game. This game is supposed to be like this. The home team in the division stepped up to win the game. Zach Wilson didn't beat them this week like he has before. So that's probably the best thing, is keeping him under control. Good win for the Jets. Glad to see the Bills take an L.
Me too. I just need them to take one more L and the Chiefs continue to win. That's all I need. All I need. Rallied from an 11-point deficit and held the Bills to, they only scored 3 points in the second half. That Buffalo offense. Look, their run game was led by Josh Allen in this game, which, look, we don't talk about the Bills to talk about their excellent run game, because that's not a thing. And that is by choice. I firmly believe that they choose to not run the football. Not because they can't. I think they just don't care to. They enjoy throwing the football and then letting Josh do whatever he wants. And inevitably that starts catching up to him with injuries, which is why you should run the football. But we were curious about how James Robinson would get acclimated into this offense. The first game didn't have a lot of anything going for him. It's playing against a Patriots defense anyway. They came in that game to stop the run because they knew that Zach Wilson wasn't going to beat them with his arm. So, Robinson didn't have a lot right there in that game, but this game he really came in clutch. He had a passing touchdown that really just got them motivated in the second half, got them in this game. I can't say anything but good things. This Jets defense is elite, and they've lost so many guys to injury from their offensive line, their defensive line. They've lost guys everywhere on the football field, and they're still finding ways to take this young QB and make him better. Shout out to Robert Saleh, man.
It's gonna be a long-time head coach in the league for sure.
I hope so. I love that guy. He could have ended up anywhere, and I would have loved that guy. Who would have expected the Jets and Vikings to be the best fourth quarter offenses in the league? Isn't the Giants one of those teams too that are a good fourth quarter offense? But anyway, next game we're gonna go over to the Vikings at the Commanders. Another 20-17 game. Neither of these teams looked impressive, and neither of these teams looked bad. They're still feeding the ball to Terry McLaurin, but TJ Hawkinson, 7 receptions for like 70 yards. Justin Jefferson obviously had a touchdown. That's except for the beginning of the year, but for the most part, that's pretty much guaranteed. He had the most of the workload. So it was a close game. Washington did blow a fourth quarter lead. That was the problem. and their defense has been a little bit questionable this season. So, it's in my opinion. Look, their records say completely otherwise. I still think this is a fairly even matchup.
Yeah, the only thing that you can say about this game that it's a very two teams that are very evenly matched up, even though Minnesota probably has the better talent on offense. But the thing of it is, at the end of the day, these Vikings continue to find ways to win, and that's what you got to talk about. They keep finding a way to get W's. They keep finding a way to come back, and they keep finding a way to only have one loss. Kirk Cousins didn't play great, but he didn't play bad enough to lose them the game.
Now, let me ask you a question. If Minnesota and Buffalo duked it out, who do you think would win?
I think Buffalo wins that game.
Okay, well, they play each other next week, so.
Oh. Well,
I'm
Josh
going to be a
Allen needs
Vikings
to be
fan
there.
next week. Sorry, Packers fans. I don't know about Josh Allen's status, but I'm going to be a Vikings fan next week.
No, Chris, it's not necessarily a bar back there. It's got a lot of trinkets and memorabilia stuff in there.
He is a treasure hunter.
Yeah, and
that
then it's
is
got my old
treasure.
Mountain Dew collection and the aluminum bottles.
Next game on the schedule, the biggest collapse of the week. The Jaguars host the Raiders. The Raiders had a 20-point lead and didn't score again in the second half. I have no words for either of these teams because I think these teams are about the same. They're underrated, both pretty good, but both are pretty good at losing. The Raiders, for whatever reason, cannot win on the road this season. Jackson or Kirk, what's his name? Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, and then there was one other one. The three main pass catchers in this game
Marvin
lit
Jones.
up the field. Can someone tag me out at work? I'm about to fall asleep over here. And then you had Devontae Adams, who had a really great first half. Darren Waller's been battling with injury. I don't even know what else went right for the Raiders in first half. Josh Jacobs, but it was a mess. Like, they went up 20-0, man, and they just collapsed in the second half. They cannot close games. That's their biggest problem this year is they can't close a football game.
Yeah, I mean, the Raiders have the personnel to win. Josh Jacobs, they got Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Matt Collins, Foster Moreau. Those are all really good players. Darren Waller, I don't think he played in the game.
I don't know. He didn't play this week. He's been dealing with a lingering injury.
The Raiders have what it takes. They have everything they need to win. They just don't. It's either coaching or just straight up game plan, or I haven't seen their collapses on defense. I've just seen like highlights of it. So I'm not really sure.
They did release their former first round pick Abrams today. Because they said they tried to deal him at the trade deadline, couldn't get anything for him, so they finally just let him go. And
yeah,
I sniff a Chiefs sneaking and picking that dude up. I feel like that's gonna happen.
Let's see. I wanted to I wanted to signing. Hold on a second. Because the Raiders also signed the cornerback that I wanted that Seattle cut, that Sidney Jones.
Yeah. Who picked Sidney Jones up? Because I knew you were keeping tabs on that.
The Raiders.
Oh, that's why they let him go, probably. They needed space, and they were trying to trade that guy anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, I didn't get my cornerback of choice, but that's okay.
I think they're still going to end up picking someone up. Cincinnati.
Yeah, they just cut somebody today, some defensive tackle that they picked up. I haven't seen anything after though.
Boy gets burnt more than Apple. Yeah, that's true. Next game on the schedule, NFC West Divisional. Big I told you so. Seahawks at Cardinals. Seahawks win 31-21. And the Cardinals are looking as bad as ever, honestly. I can't get behind this team, not in one anywhere. There is nothing that I can get behind with this football team. But the Seahawks, on the other hand, the team that was supposed to come in fourth in division, battling for the first overall draft pick, they look good. Kenneth Walker, stud. Geno Smith, playing very great. They have Lockett and DK, and they've also got young wide receivers that are stepping up as well, and they're young tight ends. This defense was in the first 5 weeks, even though they were winning some games, was one of the worst defenses in the league, and they're playing fairly serviceable as well. I can't argue with this team. They have to be in the top 10 minimum of the league, but I would be closer to getting them. I'm not going to put them there yet, but they're getting really close to top 5 for me.
Yeah, they're going to probably, if they don't win the West, it's going to be really close. It's really a 2-team race now out there between them and San Fran. I picked Arizona in this game. You know what? I honestly expected Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins to get on the same page. Obviously, Kyler Murray is not a great signing, and he's not going to play well. So, they may be done for the season. They may just
dude. If Cliff Kingsbury's not gone by the end of the season, I will be surprised because this is a good roster.
Yes.
A lot of pieces on the roster are veterans, a little bit older, but they're still playing well. There's nothing wrong with this team. Just Kyler Murray's a crybaby, and they give him whatever he wants, and he doesn't care because he's getting his money. He literally doesn't care. He's going home every night playing Call of Duty for 10 hours straight and then showing up to work and looking like he spent 15 hours at a bar. He looks bad, okay? I'm not going to blame DeAndre Hopkins. I'm not going to blame AJ Green. I'm not going to blame Zach Ertz. I'm not even going to blame the young guys. I'm not going to blame Rondale Moore or whoever else they got up there. I'm not going to blame those guys. It's not their fault because they show up to work every day.
But numbers wise, Kyler Murray didn't have a horrible game.
Wait, does it say that, Mickey? Does it say no cursing or nudity? I don't want you to put any nudity in there, but I don't know. I'll look over it again. I'm trying my best. I'm still new to Discord. Will he get cut or traded if he missed the playoffs? They're not going to cut him. I think Cliff Kingsbury is going to go, and they're going to be like, let's bring in another guy to fix Kyler's problems, and it's going to be the same crap because that's the same quarterback. Look, they're going to realize eventually that Kyler Murray and his ridiculous contract are the problem. Those two things, the person and the contract. Now, do I think Cliff Kingsbury is a great coach? No, I don't. But he's getting pushed over by his QB.
Cliff Kingsbury initiated an offense that worked in college at Texas Tech, what they call it, the air raid offense. And it's suitable for a quarterback with a great arm. Kyler Murray needs to be in more of a different style of offense than that. And that may be the whole problem. He's trying to do things that he can't.
Yeah, I hate that team. I honestly hate that team.
Yeah, because remember last year, we thought they might go to the Super Bowl before the season started.
I had them in the championship. Not the Super Bowl, but the championship for sure.
We definitely
picked the Saints last year. Yeah, I picked the Saints. That's the only reason why.
I'm so glad that I did actually pick the Super Bowl winner last year, but they were high up on that list.
I picked Green Bay last year, and it made sense because it was their year to get there. They just flopped in the playoffs. Murray needs to stop playing Madden and start playing real football. Exactly. Literally, there's no words about that. Moving on to the next game. The last two defending Super Bowl champions duke it out in Tampa, and Brady gets his 55th fourth quarter comeback in his career. This game was bad. All right, this game was bad. The whole thing was bad. And both teams played bad, but Brady played like 5 years ago, Brady, in the last 2 minutes of the game and got it done. Okay, that's what happened.
Well, not in the last 2 minutes because they failed on fourth down and they had to get the ball back one last time to get in there. This game was ugly, and if any of the DBs for either team would have had their eyeballs on or had some stickum on their hands, each secondary could have had 3 interceptions in this game. Tom Brady was getting a lot of praise. He was all happy about this comeback win. And I'm sorry, he played like ass except for one drive of the game, in which it was a 2-minute drill, and they barely scored a touchdown. I don't think either of these teams' problems are fixed. You know what? You can jump on the Brady bandwagon, comeback win.
Well,
it was ugly. He played like ass. So did Matt Stafford.
Look, I'm going to be real honest with you. I picked Tampa to win this game. I know you picked the Rams.
I picked Tampa. I'm pretty sure.
You did pick Tampa. I think you said you wanted the Rams to win.
I wanted to pick the Rams.
Yeah. Okay, well, I picked Tampa to win. I thought Tampa was going to get it done on a team that's playing poorly. And both of these defenses played fairly well. Leonard Fournette needs to be benched. Until he gets his head right, he needs to sit on the bench and realize that he is bad. He had like 10 carries for like 8 yards or something in this game. He is playing bad. And I'm not mad because he's on my fantasy team. I'm mad because he is supposed to be a top 5 running back that can't do anything. Look, you can blame the offensive line, but he could be effective in other ways if he's not being effective in the run. And he's not being effective anywhere. The game was bad. Cooper Kupp is the only offense for the Rams still. Cam Akers got to come back. He had 5 carries for 3 yards, so everything's going back to normal in Los Angeles. There was nothing enjoyable about this game except for the fact that the whole, Brady got his win and the whole internet's like, he's back. He's never going to retire. Look, he's still bad, okay? Look, he had a great comeback. That was a great last drive to win this game. That rookie tight end had a great game when it mattered the most. Cade Otton had the drive of his career, and I'm going to give him kudos to that. Look, Brady fed him the ball, so he's accountable for that, and I will give Brady kudos for, giving this young guy a chance to win the game because he could have went after Mike Evans. He could have went after Chris, what's his name? Godwin, yes. There was veterans on this team he could have went after. He stuck it with the rookie and got the win.
You realize at the end of this game, both of the last 2 drives where they drove down the field, Scotty Miller and Cade Otton were number 1 and number 2 options. And that's your little slot wide receiver that's not
and
supposed
your rookie
to do
tight
well.
end.
And then your rookie tight end.
Yeah, look, props to him for that, okay? Look, that is the one thing that I always use in my arguments against him is that he's always got elite company, and he used the non-elites to get it done because he realized he had to do whatever it took, and if he couldn't get it to them, then he had to get it to somebody, and he made those decisions and got the win. Was there pass interference on that drive? Maybe. I don't know. Because I know that's what's been all over the interception or all over the internet this week. I don't care how he did it. I got my pick right, so I don't give a crap if it's him or not.
Hey, I stayed awake, Nathan and Mickey. I managed to stay awake for this game. It was a tough game to watch. It really was.
I took a nap during that game. Well, actually, I didn't take a nap, but I laid here trying to. I ended up watching it because it got interesting at the end. Last game of the Sunday, the Tennessee Titans head to Arrowhead with their rookie QB Malik Willis to take on the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Chiefs got a late win. If you look at the statistics, you would think that the Chiefs won by 50 because of the stats in this game. Malik Willis completed for 80 yards. Derrick Henry had a very Derrick Henry game, 117 yards. The Chiefs' defense in the second half, though, held the Titans to only 10 yards in the entire second half, which is why they were able to come back. Patrick Mahomes in this game proved why he deserves to be the MVP because it felt like the Super Bowl against Tampa. He did it all himself. Not saying the rest of the guys didn't show up, but it feels like he was like, listen, you're not going to do it, then I am. He had 63 yards on the ground, led out of all the running backs, led that by a mile. He threw for 450 yards. But the one thing I have to say about this, as much as I hate the Tennessee Titans, and look, I don't even have a reason to hate them, but I do. Maybe it's because they've had our number for the last couple years, I guess. I don't know. But is Malik Willis is going to be a really good quarterback in the next couple years. He might not be there yet, but he is going to be a good quarterback. Ryan Tannehill should have been sweating on the sideline.
Oh, for sure. And the best part, and you went through and hit all the good high points for Kansas City's winning this game. And all I can add to that is they found a way to win a game where they didn't have all of their best stuff going against a team that didn't have its best offensive team out there, but they played a really good defensive game. Tennessee's defense is outstanding. To find a way to win in that. Vrabel will always find a way to win. He's starting to get in that Belichick conversation about how well he coaches. He's not there yet, but he's cruising that ladder. Two good teams that'll both be in the playoffs, and they're both going to probably win their respective divisions. This will really be an important game later on when it comes to seeding.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I don't know how far Tennessee's going to go, but they don't really have to do that much to win their division. To be honest, like that division, the AFC and NFC South are the two worst divisions in football right now. And the Easts are both insane. But, they're not going to have to do that much, but I think they're going to continue to try to develop this rookie QB because I think in like a year of experience under his belt, he is going to be very hard to play against. I've seen signs of, Lamar. I've seen signs of multiple different great QBs watching him the last 2 weeks play. And it's not easy to go into Arrowhead, especially on a primetime Sunday night game where that crowd is insane. That's a lot of pressure for a rookie, and he stayed fairly composed until probably the fourth quarter. But the pass rush just got insane at that point, and he didn't have time. There wasn't anything he could do at that point. If Derrick Henry couldn't get yards, neither could he, in that second half. It's a good win for the Chiefs to kind of exercise those demons of last season. And but it was not a bad loss for the Tennessee Titans. Like, they had 200 yards total in this game and only lost by 3 when the Chiefs had 600 yards. So, it is not a bad loss. My stomach still hurts from that game. But the best thing I can say is, one, I think Patrick Mahomes solidified his reason to be in the MVP conversation. He threw the ball 68 times in this game, which he was 2 away from breaking the record. I think Drew Bledsoe holds that record. Which I hate that. That's what Brady's doing every week. I hate seeing a quarterback have to throw it 60-plus times, and even worse when it's almost 70. But our run game, like I said, non-existent except for Patrick Mahomes, who had a 3rd and 19 huge run for a first down and then a 13-yard run for a touchdown on 3rd down. So it was an ugly game. It really was, let's be honest. But good win, not a bad loss for the Titans, but I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it because I'm moving on. I have to mentally prepare myself for the Jacksonville Jaguars next week, which is the same freaking story, just a different team. In our final game of the slate, one of the worst games of the week, honestly. Ravens at Saints, Monday Night Football. Ravens got a dominant win on Monday Night Football. Saints, their defense played as well as they could for as long as they could. That's pretty much all I can say about that. They played as well as they could for as long as they could. And they still had a solid chance to come back in this game at multiple times. But their offense is very similar to the Falcons. They don't have an identity at all.
They do have an identity, but it's not working out. Baltimore did a good job of taking Kamara out of this game. Winston
is looking to be their starter next week.
What's that?
Winston is looking to be their starter.
Andy Dalton didn't have a great game. He didn't have a god-awful game, but there was no running game to go with it, so therefore you're not going to get a lot of points. Chris Olave, another one of those guys that's out there, could be Offensive Rookie of the Year based on what he's had thrown him the ball and how well he's played. another good rookie in this class that's playing big minutes in the NFL. I really like to see that, though, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I like to see the Ravens get right because I spoke so highly of them in the offseason, and they're still, getting ripped to shreds with injuries for a second year. They're getting a little healthier, but I'm glad to see they're playing the football that they should be.
Picking up Kenyon Drake is
Kenny
probably one
Drake
of the
had
better
his
things.
career game last night. Like, seriously, he was the MVP of last night.
Yeah, without that game is a lot. Without Kenyon Drake in this game is a lot closer. And you've got to take that into consideration that they picked him up off of waivers. I think the Raiders discarded him, and he's playing well. He didn't rush for 100 yards, but he still had 2 touchdowns and a 4
And he
average.
had some receiving
that's what you
yards,
need.
didn't he?
Well, probably. Let's see.
I was going to say, he had some receptions too.
Yeah, 2 catches for 16 yards. On 2 targets. Lamar only threw the ball 22 times in this game. Kenyon Drake really won this game, 24 rushes.
Lamar had a couple rushes, but probably at least 50 yards if I had to guess.
11 rushes for 82 yards. But yeah, there you go. They won. They didn't turn the ball over. What's the main thing in the NFL? Don't turn the ball over. And when Lamar controls the ball, they're tough to beat.
Absolutely. I can't disagree with you at all. That's their style of football. In the last couple weeks, those games that we saw them lose in the fourth quarter. I'm not going to say they lost the whole game. They lost in the fourth quarter of multiple games this year. They got away from who they are in playing on offense on those games. They had the lead and they decided they want to throw the ball, and Lamar looked bad. That's what happened. I'm like, stay true to who you are, because that is everything that they're about, is staying true to who they are. When they get away from that, they start looking bad. Look, Lamar can throw the ball. He can throw the ball 60 yards. He can throw checkdowns all day. It doesn't matter. He is an effective passer. But when you just get rid of your entire game plan and play differently in the last quarter of a game, that's when you fall apart.
Yeah, for sure. You got to stay who you are in these games. We talk about teams not having an identity or not playing, up to their capabilities based on what kind of team they are. Those teams usually lose. When you play your style of football and you don't turn the ball over, you have a chance to win every week in the NFL. Doesn't matter who you play.
Yeah, look at Chicago. They're playing Justin Fields style football, and they're looking really good. You have to stay true to what works for you. Like, you can't, unless it is an absolute must that you switch your game plan, like if you're behind or whatnot. But when you have the lead, why change anything? Buffalo doesn't start running the clock when they got a 20-point lead. They continue to throw the football. That's their style of play. That's what works for them.
Right on. Schedule for the rest of the week. What are we doing tomorrow? Are we going to pick our weekly picks tomorrow?
Tomorrow we got weekly picks. Thursday we got another dual stream day. We've got at 8 o'clock Thursday night football, and at 8:30 we've got an IU basketball game. So those two will be on here. We'll have to send each other over during our halftimes of our games and say hello. Friday, there is nothing. Maybe we'll work on our mid-season awards stuff on Friday or something. Saturday, since we did not do it last week, we're going to run our Q&A this Saturday. Like I said, I dropped the link earlier. I will drop it again. If you are not join our Discord, and you'll be able to get updates on everything. And if you want to try to reach out to one of us, easiest way to get a hold of us right now, join our Discord. We've got 17 members so far. We're working our way up. We want to get as many of you guys in there so we can all have you all in the same place if we need to tell you something.
Yep.
But unless you have anything else, that's the schedule. Week picks tomorrow. Thursday night football, college basketball Thursday, nothing Friday.
I'm excited about being in here almost every day.
Sunday.
I like being in here almost every day. I like having something to do.
I like having Fridays off, though. You know, I'm good with the other 6 days, but the Friday is like a rest day for me because I usually have a late night at work and I just crash when I get home.
I got to have a day to sit in here and do some recording too. So
Yes, which we might be doing Friday.
cool.
Yeah. So, any questions, comments, concerns? No cursing or nudity. When the Pats win against the Jets, that whole Discord is going to be in Patriots pictures. There are mods in there, so if you start spamming them, I'll tell them to snipe them down. I probably will not do that. Just kidding. But do I get awards for all the history homework I've been doing? Absolutely.
Yes, Nathan, you get an award. I'll come up with something for you. I actually got something for you.
Also, in the future, I do not know how near, but probably relatively near, we will have the membership option available on YouTube. We're still working out the kinks, but we're getting closer to that soon. You'll pay off the mods. My mods cannot be bought.
I mean, you can try.
Wait, we don't reward Brady lovers. Sorry.
Oh.
They don't get rewards.
Oh.
The Jets or Giants can squeeze out 4 more wins. They have an excellent shot to make the playoffs. I think both teams might. After seeing James Robinson against the Bills, it gave me hate. James Robinson against the Bills. I think the Jets do have a chance. I think that entire division still has a chance. I know the Patriots are 5-4, and they're in last place in the division. I think all of them. Peyton Manning's the GOAT. That's in the discussion. I had this conversation the other day, so I'm not doing it again. But Peyton Manning is the GOAT. And go Chiefs. Yes. I think that entire AFC East has the potential to make the playoffs and kick a couple people out of the playoffs.
I think the Jets have the potential to lose the next 4 games.
I think they have the potential to lose every single game, and I think they have the potential. If they can beat Buffalo, they can beat anybody. Like, that's how I feel about them. That is their biggest competition, is Buffalo and the Patriots, probably, just because Bill Belichick owns the Jets. But the Jets have been bad the last 14 times they played them.
Man, their schedule looks really bad to me for the rest of the year, honestly. They go to New England.
They got a rough schedule.
Chicago at home may look like the best game out of the next 4. And Chicago's been playing very well. Minnesota, they go to Minnesota and then they go to Buffalo. They get Detroit at home, but who knows how Detroit's going to show up. Then they play Jacksonville at home. That should be one that they hold on for. That's a Thursday night game. And then they go to Seattle and Miami to finish out the season.
Finally, we get the Jets on primetime. I've been waiting for that, dude. They must only have like 1. I've been waiting for them.
Thursday, December 22nd.
Christopher, I choose my mods based on how much they don't like Tom Brady. Like, if they do not like him, then they got a better chance.
Yeah, you got to earn respect in here, Chris.
Listen, you're not the only Patriots/Brady fan in here, I promise. Listen, I deal with them every day, and there's a lot of them, so.
It's a crowded room, bro.
Listen, it's a crowded world everywhere you go. They're everywhere. I had a Bengals fan fighting me to the death over Tom Brady, and he was like, I don't even like that guy. And I was like, yeah, I'm sure you don't. Well, I don't know why you're fighting me to the death over a guy you don't like. And I wasn't even trying to fight. I still said Brady was good, and he couldn't hear that. Have I ever said he's a bad quarterback? No, I've never said that. Not one single time. Did I say I didn't like him? Yes, but did I say he was bad? No.
Tom Brady, the single greatest system quarterback to probably ever play the game.
Tom Brady is the most fortunate and most accomplished quarterback of all time. Does that make him the best? No, because people misinterpret that. I will say it every day. No one will accomplish more than he has, and no one will be as fortunate in their career as he has.
just a combination of right place, right time, just the right amount of ability and knowledge and strengths against, and then with him and with Belichick, they worked out great together. I think it's the best combination of all time. I think it's the greatest coach quarterback combination of all time.
Absolutely. And unless Andy Reid plays for our coaches for at least 10 more years, Mahomes is the only guy who will come close.
This might be Reid's last year if you keep looking at him. Yeah, I think they're on for some change.
Shy, I have whatever it is about Jerry Jeudy, I have not heard.
They can't trade him.
All I know is he needs to put some tape on his gloves.
Yeah, I was just watching an NFL special about when they outlawed Stickum.
He needs some. I feel like his only problem is the drops. He is a good wide receiver that cannot get respect from me because he has so many drops.
Yeah, Cowboys tried to trade for Jerry Jeudy, but they couldn't get something worked out.
Yeah, Cowboys are fighting hard to get OBJ now.
She's right. OBJ is next because he's the only one out there that's not a non-signed free agent right now. And that's the next stop on our list.
That he wouldn't be ready until December. I read yesterday that he will be ready next week. What? Now, you don't need OBJ because I feel like the Patriots' problem is you got two really big tight ends that you refuse to feed and feed and feed. You would win every single game if you fed Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry. You would win every single game. And your wide receivers, they're not bad. They're just not great. But you've got two of the best tight ends that get no love in the league, side by side. If you feed those two guys, the Patriots don't lose football games.
I agree.
That is my big problem. That's why I loved the Zappy experiment, because he just kept feeding those guys, and it was working.
That's the other place that he wants to go, Shy.
I mean, you can fight me. But if we're coming about facts, if Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry account for 20 targets between the two of them a game, they will not lose. I don't care who they play against. They can play against the Chiefs. They will not lose. They can play against the Bills. They will not lose. If those guys get 20 targets combined between the two of them, they will not lose. Because you have a good enough run game and you have at least average, which is better than a lot of teams, average wide receivers that it would take a lot of pressure off of them if you fed your tight ends, and it would spread the ball out. You would move the ball down the field. You'd put up 6 on almost every drive.
Look, use the Tom Brady methodology of Patriots football. Check down to your running back and your tight end.
Exactly. You check that down to those tight ends. You're going to let her talk to you like this? He can't stop me.
Hey, buddy, you can't slow her down. She's a pistol. That's why she's in here.
You can ask him if he's gonna let me talk to you this way. But if it weren't me saying it, he would agree with everything I'm saying.
I probably would. I would be in agreement mostly. I don't know about winning every game, but I know that their win percentage would go up if they targeted their tight ends a little bit more.
If I was not a part of this conversation and you sat here and was like, Shane, how do the Patriots start winning football games? Your first go-to would be like, throw it to Hunter Henry.
I love Jonnu Smith. I thought he was a great pickup. I thought that was the I know I did the one, Shy. We're gonna do some more.
Speaking of the Discord, I am going to end up putting no one wants to join your Patriots bus? No, they're the most hated team for the last 23 years. Sorry. But other than the Cowboys, I did say that they should be considered the more of America's team in the last 20 years than the Cowboys. So you got that from me. But in the Discord, I am going to put a channel on there for videos for reaction. So you can submit any video you want to see us react to. Because, we started dabbling in that, but we got away from it with a lot of stuff going on. So that will be happening very soon. I'll have that up in the Discord so you can do it. If rings are your argument, you've already lost. It don't matter who you're talking about. If rings are your argument, you've already lost.
Here we go.
And on that note, we will see you guys tomorrow. The link is in the description. Join our Discord because we want you to and we love you. I don't know what else to say. Okay, leave me alone. Yeah,
Chris, man, I love the fact that you're going to continue to stick your argument out there. It's a hard one to win with her. The only compromise you're going to have in that is the fact that she respects the fact that the Patriots have been a great team for the last 25 years. And, she's just not sold that Tom Brady is the GOAT.
Tom Brady is the GOAT in accomplishments.
He's the GOAT in certain ways, but he's not the greatest quarterback of all time.
In terms of,
he might be the most accomplished.
I'm not mean. I am honest. I am not mean. I am honest. The truth.
You're highly opinionated, and you back up your opinion with your own facts.
Opinions. I'm just telling facts.
But
my opinion is that I hate them. But the fact is, he is the most accomplished quarterback of all time. The truth hurts, man.
Chris, we have fun, dude. That's all that matters. It is fun. We're all smiling. I'm giddy inside listening to her get wound up, but it is about time for us to roll.
It is time for us to roll. We'll be back around the same time tomorrow for our weekly picks. And I don't know why you shot a basketball because we're doing weekly picks tomorrow. But
it's like shooting free throws.
No, it's like turning around, taking the basketball and throwing it over your head and hoping you make it. That's what doing weekly picks for the NFL is like.
All right, knock it. Let's go.
All right. We are out of here. Much love. Join our Discord. We love you guys. We will see you tomorrow night.